In today's video, we are going to explore famous Martin Luther King Jr. quotes about equality, justice, and nonviolent resistance. Let's get started. True peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice. The moral arc of the universe bends at the elbow of justice. When you are right, you cannot be too radical. When you are wrong, you cannot be too conservative. At the center of nonviolence stands the principle of love. We who engage in nonviolent direct action are not the creators of tension. We merely bring to the surface the hidden tension that is already alive. The hope of a secure and livable world lies with disciplined nonconformists who are dedicated to justice, peace, and brotherhood. Nonviolence means avoiding not only external physical violence, but also internal violence of spirit. You not only refuse to shoot a man, but you refuse to hate him. Nonviolence is absolute commitment to the way of love. Love is not emotional bash, it is not empty sentimentalism. It is the active outpouring of one's whole being into the being of another. Nonviolence is a powerful and just weapon, which cuts without wounding and ennobles the man who wields it. It is a sword that heals. There is nothing more tragic than to find an individual bogged down in the length of life, devoid of breath. There comes a time when people get tired of being pushed out of the glittering sunlight of life's July and left standing amid the piercing chill of an alpine November. There comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but he must take it because conscience tells him it is right. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Mankind must put an end to war, or war will put an end to mankind. That old law about an eye for an eye leaves everybody blind. The time is always right to do the right thing. Man must evolve for all human conflict a method which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation. The foundation of such a method is love. We must concentrate not merely on the negative expulsion of war, but the positive affirmation of peace. The past is prophetic in that it asserts loudly that wars are poor chisels for carving out peaceful tomorrows. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. Let no man pull you so low as to hate him. It may be true that the law cannot make a man love me, but it can keep him from lynching me, and I think that's pretty important. It is not enough to say we must not wage war. It is necessary to love peace and sacrifice for it. If the cruelties of slavery could not stop us, the opposition we now face will surely fail. Because the goal of America is freedom, abused and scorned though we may be, our destiny is tied up with America's destiny. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I came to the conclusion that there is an existential moment in your life when you must decide to speak for yourself. Nobody else can speak for you. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. This is why right, temporarily defeated, is stronger than evil triumphant. He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it. A genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus, but a molder of consensus. We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Law and order exist for the purpose of establishing justice, and when they fail in this purpose, they become the dangerously structured dams that block the flow of social progress. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle, the tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals. People fail to get along because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other. They don't know each other because they have not communicated with each other. Our scientific power has outrun our spiritual power. We have guided missiles and misguided men. Oppressed people cannot remain oppressed forever. The yearning for freedom eventually manifests itself. Power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love. Whatever affects one directly, affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality. What is wrong in the world today is that the nations of the world are engaged in a bitter, colossal contest for supremacy. The principle of self-defense, even involving weapons and bloodshed, has never been condemned, even by Gandhi. Of all the forms of inequality, injustice in healthcare is the most shocking and inhumane. Every man of humane convictions must decide on the protest that best suits his convictions, but we must all protest. Almost always, the creative dedicated minority has made the world better. All we say to America is, be true to what you said on paper. Somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly, somewhere I read of the freedom of speech, somewhere I read of the freedom of the press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest for right. All progress is precarious, and the solution of one problem brings us face to face with another problem. A nation or civilization that continues to produce soft-minded men purchases its own spiritual death on the installment plan. You can kill the dreamer, but you can't kill the dream. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you. But I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. We shall match your capacity to inflict suffering by our capacity to endure suffering. We will meet your physical force with soul force. Do to us what you will, and we shall continue to love you. We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. The hottest place in hell is reserved for those who remain neutral in times of great moral conflict. In some not too distant tomorrow, the radiant stars of love and brotherhood will shine over our great nation with all their scintillating beauty. I am not interested in power for power's sake, but I'm interested in power that is moral, that is right, and that is good. Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor, it must be demanded by the oppressed. Change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle. For when people get caught up with that which is right and they are willing to sacrifice for it, there is no stopping point short of victory. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. A right delayed is a right denied. We must come to see that the end we seek is a society at peace with itself, a society that can live with its conscience. Please let us know your favorite quotes from these famous Martin Luther King Jr. quotes about equality, justice, and nonviolent resistance in the comments section. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.